Where am I?
In the village.
What do you want?
Information.
Whose side are you on?
That would be telling. We want information. Information. Information.
You won't get it.
By hook or by crook, we will.
Who are you?
The new number 2.
Who is number 1?
You are number 6.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
Mr. Basquiat? Mr. Basquiat, hello? Hello, Jean, how are you? Can I call you Jean?
Actually, it's Jean-Michel. I prefer to be called Jean-Michel. It's one name, you see. But you notice the hyphen between them. It's one name. Jean-Michel is the actual name it's one name that I prefer to go by.
So one name, Jean-Michel.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. Well, Jean, you've certainly caused quite a stir in your time in the art world. Tell me, if you could, a little bit about your formative years.
Well, you see, I was born in New York. New York is where I spent most of my formative years. So I spent a lot of time growing up in New York. But I also moved to Puerto Rico, back to Puerto Rico. My mother's from Puerto Rico. My father's from Haiti. I moved back to Puerto Rico when I was a teenager, close to being a teenager. My father got a transfer position. I actually ended up living with my father. My parents separated. I ended up living with my father. And we moved to Puerto Rico. He had a job transfer. And eventually I came back to New York City and attended the public schools in the area. And that, my parents being foreigners, me being born in New York, then leaving and then coming back, informed a lot of my growing up as I grew up in New York when I was growing up in New York.
So you spent a lot of your time in New York growing up, yeah?
Yes.
Well, Jean, I'd like to know more about your early work as an artist, your influences, perhaps.
Well, you see, my origins are in the street art world. My first major exposure as an artist was with the graffiti duo Selma, my partner in crime, Al Diaz. Many of my critics and those who study my work have taken to the moniker primitivism to describe my works, but I think I find my roots more deeply entrenched in graffiti and street art than primitive cave art. I was inspired a lot by the likes of the contemporary painters that emerged in the early 20th century, particularly Pablo Picasso. Art for the sake of art has always been interesting, intriguing concept for me. Yeah. When I was very young, at roughly the age of 7, I was struck by a car and had to spend some time in the hospital. My mother bought me the Gray's Anatomy, is with an A, with an A, not an E. Gray's Anatomy book to occupy me, and the images of nervous systems and organs and the like, provided to be quite influential in my later work.
Curious. A lot of critics have often praised your work for its ambivalent, emotional tone, its tributes to jazz greats. What is your response to these comments?
Delightful. I like to think of the figures I paint as highly expressive and a manifestation of passing experiences. In the words of Luis Alberto Meja Clavijo, paint like a child, don't paint what is on the surface, but what you are recreating inside.
Wise words, Jean. Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Basquiat. You can try, but you are not permitted to leave the village. With that in mind, what are your future plans?
I plan to die on August 12th, 1988 of a heroin overdose.
That will be all.